Good evening and welcome to Gay News Break. I'm John Beebe.
And I'm Dorinda Boswell. Well, John, it's your 40th birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't feel much different. It's kind of more mental than it is physical, I think, at this point.
Well, you look wonderful.
Well,
you're
very
good
sweet. I'll give you the
guy.
$25 after the show for saying that, too.
Very good looking for 40.
Well, thank you. We're going to start off with a story on the Wins House. The Wins House, an Oklahoma City residence for people living with HIV and AIDS, has 3 apartments, 2 upstairs and 1 downstairs, available. The apartment complex is a drug and alcohol-free environment. Residents receive transportation to and from doctor appointments, most meals, and access to a part-time housing and health supervisor who is frequently on the premises. Rent is $350 per month, which can be subsidized with Section 8 and housing opportunities for people with AIDS, also known as HOPWA funds. For applications, call the number listed, please, at the end of this program. Dorinda?
Thank you. A local gay church is welcoming back their founding pastor. Bishop Marty Martin returned to Holy Trinity Catholic Church this month to help get the church back on its feet. Martin left Holy Trinity last year after the church voted to split from the Ecumenical Catholic Church. Since then, Martin has retired, but now he's back to help out. Holy Trinity has been without a pastor for the past several months, ever since the last pastor took all the church money and skipped town. After the incident, church morale has declined along with the attendance. Martin invites everyone who wants to worship openly in the Catholic faith to attend their services. Services are every Saturday at 6 o'clock p.m. at Epworth United Methodist in Oklahoma City.
When parents discover they have a gay or lesbian child, there are often many questions that arise. To help those parents, as well as friends and other family members, parents, friends, and families of lesbians and gays, PFLAG provides answers and support. The meetings are free and open to anyone wishing to attend. Guest speakers and light refreshments are often part of the meetings. In Oklahoma City, the Metro chapter of PFLAG meets at Mayflower Congregational Church at 3901 Northwest 63rd. The Norman PFLAG chapter meets at St. Stephen's United Methodist Church. For information about these meetings and those in Tulsa, call the numbers listed at the end of this program.
3 weeks ago, I reported to you of 4 fundraisers that brought our community together to celebrate the lives of 4 very special people. Tonight, I continue that story and report to you about one of those 4. Cindy Denny passed on from this life on September 29th after battling breast cancer and recently liver cancer. She is survived by her parents, a sister, many family, many friends, and her partner and lover of almost 7 years, Christy Wano. Funeral services, or as they refer to it, a celebration of her life, will be held on Friday, October 2nd at 2 o'clock p.m. at the North Gate Church off of I-35 and Waterloo Road. Here's a picture of Cindy. John, at the yesterday at the hospital, and this was at Mercy Hospital, there were 20 friends and family that were there to hold her hands as she left this life, and she was a beautiful woman that had a big part in our community for 15 to 20 years. She was a social worker, and the children loved her, and that was her work.
All of our prayers are with her friends and her family.
Yes.
I know she's very special to the community as well.
She is.
I want to also make one point real quick, too, that the AIDS Walk, the OU AIDS Walk that was held on September 23rd, a few things here, that there were more participants than the 3 prior walks with over 250 walkers. And when all the money was counted, approximately $2,000 was raised, with $1,000 coming from students and sponsors of Capitol Hill High School in Oklahoma City, and the money will be distributed to local HIV and AIDS service organizations such as the American Red Cross HIV and AIDS program and Sooner Sight. There were also 13 vendor tables that were present, and Little Caesars contributed 20 pizzas for the walkers, and this is one I wish I'd have been in on. Foot massages were given for 2 hours after the walk, non-stop, by Integris Health Center in Norman. Over 600 condoms were also distributed, and the walk marked the beginning of a series of events and seminars at OU leading up to World AIDS Day on December 1st. So fantastic job for the OU AIDS Walk.
That's great.
Mr. Califer.
Yes,
This
thank
is
you
your
very
last
much.
night, I believe, if that's if I'm not
That's right.
mistaken.
Yes, it is.
Well, you've been a great inspiration and a great help to me.
It's been a lot of fun,
appreciate everything.
and I will be watching every week. You can count on that.
Well, good. Don't forget about us.
Oh, I won't. No chance. When it comes to political extremism, Oklahoma's congressional delegation takes a back seat to no one. The Christian Coalition recently released a voting scorecard ranking all members of Congress. Only one state in the nation had their entire delegation receive rankings of 100%. I'm sure you can probably guess what that state was. Yes, Oklahoma. The rankings were derived from elected officials' votes on social and fiscal issues. Both U.S. senators and all 6 representatives from our state attained this recognition for their rigidly extremist voting records. The Daily Oklahoman, in an editorial Sunday, crowed about these men and called them America's conservative bravehearts. For myself, I think it's shameful so many of this state's fine citizens receive no representation whatsoever in the halls of our nation's capital. Well, for almost 3 years now, it has been my pleasure to be the co-anchor of this program. When I came on board, the show was struggling through a period of instability. That's no longer the case. When I began here, I felt the show could and should look better. It does. While I claim no credit for the improvements in the show over this time period, I feel I can step aside now and know the show is in very good hands. I consider this show an important resource for our community, and that's why I wanted to be involved with it. I'm immensely grateful to all of you who had kind words for me over the years. It always warmed my heart to hear how having this show means something significant to so many of you. As I leave, I want you to know what I know. Everyone here, from the cast you see every week to Eddie, Joe, and Don, our behind-the-scene friends you don't, are committed to an ideal of providing something meaningful to our community. This show has great potential that hasn't yet been fully realized. I feel the key ingredient still missing is you. Please take note of the talkback phone number and email address we list at the end of every show. Use them, and you can help make this endeavor interactive. I can't overemphasize how much we want your input, positive or negative. Any constructive comments will be heard, and as we are able, will be implemented. And finally, I can't leave now with the 10th annual Coming Out Day coming up October 11th without some thoughts on that. We are a minority, and one which some seek to stigmatize and suppress. We are misunderstood by many who don't know us and think they don't want to know us. We live in what surely is the buckle of the Bible Belt, where many adhere to doctrinaire negative notions about us. There are those who hate us and want to hurt us. These things, which could be seen as justification for maintaining the safety of the closet, can also give us reason to abandon that safety. All those who oppose us just emphasize how we need each other. We need the strength of community or family that is possible when those who live outside the closet stand together. Young people facing gender identity questions need to see us and know that we're here, we're queer, and we're fabulous, thank you. Once we choose to be true to our nature and our identity, we find the light and air outside the closet can be liberating and exhilarating. Living your life in full acceptance of who you are has its own great rewards. Once you accept the mantle or title of gay or queer or transgender or whatever you may be, you stand to dispel the myths. So many who fear us simply don't know us. Once they are given the opportunity to know us and observe us in our day-to-day lives, seeing that they are remarkably unremarkable, their fear can be lessened, can even be shattered. Accept the title and disprove the stereotypes. Goodbye.
John, real quick, all of us here at Gay Newsbreak and also the board and Tri-Pride Productions would like to give you this certificate of appreciation.
Oh.
Basically, it says the board of directors of Tri-Pride Productions Incorporated, along with the cast and crew of Gay Newsbreak, proudly present this certificate to John Califer for his years of dedication and outstanding performance as national news anchor, dated September 30th, 1998. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
And thank you very much for being an inspiration to me
Well,
and
thank you.
helping me out as well. Have all of you seen this here? This is it right here. Again, congratulations.
Well, I appreciate it.
And
I accept it proudly.
the best of luck, John.
Thank you.
We go to Desmond with the health news. Desmond Stone.
Thank you. 10% of all AIDS cases in the United States occur in people over the age of 50, with rates as high as 14% in Florida. According to the Florida Department of Elder Affairs, older people are not often considered at risk for HIV. In response to these figures, the group Senior HIV Intervention Project was founded, whose purpose is to address issues specific to HIV-positive seniors. Sue Saunders, 65 years old, HIV positive, and founder of the group, says, "You're never too old to contract HIV. All it takes is one partner if she or he is infected." Findings presented recently at the 38th InterScience Conference on Antimicrobial Agents and Chemotherapy indicate that extracts from Prunella vulgaris, a woodland herb, may be beneficial in fighting herpes simplex virus types 1 and 2. When cells infected with the virus were exposed to the extracts, the cells stopped growing. The compound also worked against strains of herpes already resistant to the antibiotic acyclovir. The hepatitis C virus claims 8,000 to 10,000 lives each year, and it has been estimated that co-infection with both HIV and hepatitis C can be anywhere from 10% among gay men to 90% among intravenous drug users. Hepatitis C has quietly infected approximately 4 million Americans and can go undiscovered for up to 20 years, which by that time so much damage has been caused by the virus that treatment is often ineffective. If you feel you've been exposed to any form of hepatitis, contact your healthcare professional for testing now. Finally, the United States is the world's most unfaithful nation, with 50% of Americans stating they had at least one instance of infidelity, and 1 in 5 people report they were often unfaithful. The 10,000-person survey of 16 nations also found that people in Hong Kong and Thailand waited the longest to have sex, and the French were found to have intercourse most often, at an average of 141 times per year. In presenting the findings, the London International Group, who sponsored their survey, noted that sex education and prevention is important in order to stop the spread of HIV. John, Dorinda, back to you guys.
Thank you, Desmond. We'll be right back after this message.
If you've had a sexually transmitted disease like gonorrhea, herpes, or syphilis, listen. What you were doing that exposed you to that disease could also expose you to the AIDS virus. You're living proof that a sexually transmitted disease can happen. Please don't prove it again.
Find out more about HIV, the virus that causes AIDS.
Bye.
Where does he get his information about drugs, alcohol, and sex? One day he's a child, and the next he's making decisions that could risk his life. It's a helpless feeling for a parent because you can't always be with him to keep him safe. But you can teach him how to be safe, and those words will stay with him, even when you can't.
We can help you talk about AIDS. Call for a guide.
Welcome back. We are going to have a public service announcement about ENDA, and for those of you that may not be familiar with that, ENDA is the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, and it's to protect gays and lesbians and bisexuals from discrimination in America's workplace. Now, if your members of Congress are already co-sponsors of ENDA, congratulate them and please urge them to persuade other members to do the same. It's important to get your family and friends to write and call members of Congress about the importance of passing ENDA. So here we have Barney Frank.
Advising people how to move Congress is very easy. Getting them to follow the advice is very hard, and I get frustrated by that. I want gay men and lesbians to take the National Rifle Association as their model, or maybe the American Association of Retired Persons. Those two organizations have a great deal of influence, and you can agree or disagree with the NRA's agenda. That doesn't affect your view of how effective their methods are. You write to members of Congress and you call them, and you don't write to anybody whose name you see in the paper. You write to your representative and your senator. Members of the House and of the Senate listen to their constituents. Not 100% of the time, not on every issue, but one of the biggest impacts on us is what the constituents say. I think things are getting better. Prejudice is somewhat on the defensive, but it's got a lot of kick left. And the key will be to the gay men and lesbians and the people who love us and care for us, care more about ending bigotry than the bigots care about perpetuating it. If you ask the average member of Congress today, he or she has heard more from the bigots who want to perpetuate the bigotry than from those of us who want to oppose it. And until and unless we have enough determination and discipline to reverse that, because I think we have the numbers, if we don't immobilize them, then we're not going to win.
The Employment Non-Discrimination Act, ENDA, would protect gays and lesbians from being fired, from being denied employment, from being discriminated against on the job, from being paid less for doing the same job based solely on one's sexual orientation. Contact your senators and representative and tell them to support ENDA. Get your family and friends to do the same. This is Pat Schroeder. I was one of the original co-sponsors of ENDA. Every morning, Congress opens with the Pledge of Allegiance saying liberty and justice for all, and then they work all day to keep hate alive. Remember, liberty and justice for all. What part of all don't we understand?
That was Representative Barney Frank and Honorable Pat Schroeder. Wonderful PSA. And we really urge all of you to please call or write your congressman and look for the address and the phone number on the community bulletin board at the end of the show, because we each, one at a time, can make a difference, and we can make a big difference if we all just pull together and give these people a call and work to get this thing done. Briefly, I want to mention, we were talking about birthdays, and my 40th birthday. I happened to meet I met a guy last night who also shares the same day as me, and we got to talking, and he ended up moving from San Diego, California to Oklahoma City to go to work for a company that only about 6 weeks later fired him because specifically he was gay. He's the third guy that I've met in probably this year that's been fired for being gay here in Oklahoma. So he's leaving and moving out of state to go get another job. So this is just horrible.
That's awful.
Just horrible. Anyway, on to better and brighter things. Ricky Staten with our entertainment news. Welcome, Ricky.
Good evening. I hope you're having a great evening. Can you believe it's October? Well, for many years, the lesbian rock star Melissa Etheridge has dreamed of portraying singer Janis Joplin on film, and it looked for a while like she was set to realize her dream. A film biography of the legendary soul singer, entitled Piece of My Heart, is currently in pre-production. Melissa's partner, Julie Cypher, is producing the film, which she also co-wrote. Unfortunately, Etheridge's acting abilities have been less than stellar, and she's being replaced. A new director has been brought in to find another actress for the role of Joplin. Well, once again, Robert Downey Jr. is set to play a gay man on film. In a new film called Black and White, Downey plays the gay husband of a documentary filmmaker. The story follows the filmmaker, played by Brooke Shields, as she chronicles two white New York City teenagers obsessed with hip-hop culture. This will be Downey's third role as a gay man. Remember, he recently played gay in the films Home for the Holidays and One Night Stand. It looks like someone's being typecast. And finally, the Tony-winning Broadway revival of Cabaret, which celebrates kinky decadence, will soon be moving to the epitome of 70s kinky decadence, Studio 54. Producers have been considering moving the show since midsummer, when a construction accident in Times Square closed the show's current home, the Henry Miller Theater, for 3 weeks. The move, which takes place November 12th, will nearly double the show's capacity, from 513 seats to nearly 1,000. That's great news for theater fans traveling to Manhattan this fall. Well, back to you guys.
Ricky. And now this evening, Robert Caldwell, what do you have for us?
We're going to talk about workaholics.
Oh, no.
That's a subject we all should be
Something
familiar
a
with.
lot of us can relate to, definitely.
Do you live to work, or do you work to live? If you answered yes to the first question, then you might be a workaholic. There is no typical work addict because each finds something different about work that he or she finds gratifying. Some like the aggressiveness that they can display in a work environment, and others crave the security and order that their work provides. Workaholics are people who just don't know when to stop working. Some people seem to lack the inner monitoring device for regulating the work, rest, and recreation balance. Many people deny them the existence of fatigue and push themselves beyond reason. Learn to let up on the gas. Compare yourself to a finely tuned auto, spinning its wheels in the snow. The need is not to burn more fuel, race the engine faster, or dig in deeper, but let up on the gas so that normal progress can resume. Learn to spot fatigue and respond to it promptly. Most people respond by quitting work early, they schedule and enjoy vacations, spend time with their families. In short, they have other outlets for their drive besides work. The fact that people in high-pressure, high-powered executive jobs are often workaholics is well known. Not so well known is that anyone, from school kids to housewives to elderly people, can be workaholics too. Back to you, John and Dorinda.
Thank you, Robert. We'll be right back with some closing comments, so stay with us.
Oh, I can tell. Everybody's always a guy that can say that. I just know I don't sleep with women like that.
I've been told that by guys, you know, saying, oh, well, you look pretty safe to me. How do you know? How do you know who I've been with? You don't. Nobody ever knows.
You don't know.
Nobody ever knows that I have AIDS unless I tell them. I could walk into a room and nobody would ever know.
Respect yourself, protect yourself.
Well, as you're all aware, Alan has announced he's HIV positive. He's okay, but does anybody know what he's going through? What do our people think? We need to get on this. Shirley, do we have an employee policy? Are we required to set one up? Kurt, is he covered by our insurance plan? Okay, Ellen, as his manager, is he entitled to extra time off?
At least 1 in 10 businesses has had an employee with HIV.
John. Terry?
If you have a business, you need answers.
How can we help? Anybody? Anybody at all?
Call for this manager's kit and help keep your workplace healthy and productive.
It's awfully quiet in here.
La vida de hoy no es fácil. Uno tiene que cuidarse. A mí me gusta divertirme, pero sé que tengo que protegerme. Vale la pena. Yo sé que si no me respeto a mí misma, nadie me va a respetar. Así, si un chico me dice que no quiere usar un condón, ¿qué le digo? Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Protégete, respétate.
I know many of you have tuned in expecting to see our weather girl, Ginger Lamar, but what happened was her hair got caught in the hurricane. And so she's chasing all over the South trying to get her hair back, and so hopefully we'll have her back here
George,
next
better
week.
watch out.
Yeah.
If Ginger's after him.
George and Ginger. They should have made it Ginger instead of George. How about that? I think she'd agree with us on that. Well, John, now that you're leaving us, tell us some of the things you're going to be doing.
Oh, I'm always looking for something to get involved in. I have talked to MC Smotherman and her campaign manager. I hope to get involved with her campaign a lot. I'm really supporting her strongly. Beyond that, I'm going to have some spare time, so if anybody out there has some good ideas on things I can do.
Well, you'll be a huge asset to MC Smotherman if you go and help her. I know that she'll be better off having you.
She's such a strong candidate. Every time I listen to her talk, I get real fired up.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
She really is. And
Well, so what are you doing tonight?
what am I doing tonight? Actually, I've worked all day. I've worked this evening. I'll have to wait a day to do any celebrating. I've gotten phone calls from several people and several friends, you know, and so
So
anyway.
has it been a nice day, a nice birthday for you?
It's been a very nice birthday, thank
Good,
you. You only turned
good.
40 once, and it's been
You're
a lot
a
of
young
fun.
40, baby. You look good.
What do
Thank
we
you very
have
much.
here?
Hey.
Oh,
All right.
you sneaky.
Happy birthday.
You're over
so
the hill
sneaky.
here.
Thank you very much. I wondered why we had so much extra time at the end of the show this week. Well, that's very nice.
Now, who's willing to sing on camera?
Over the hill. For once, I don't have to. No, you don't have to. That's very nice. Thank you all very much.
Well, we hope
It's
you
just-
have a great birthday and that
Thank
you
you.
all celebrate tomorrow night. And
Thank you.
And we'll
just-
celebrate with you tonight.
Yeah. This
Don't
just
forget to
caps.
make a wish.
This just caps it off for me. I
Well,
really
good.
appreciate it all very much. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, blow it out. Okay. I already made my wish.
Oh, okay.
Good. Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good.